Say Leonardo da Vinci, and you immediately picture a peaceful artist capturing the quiet beauty of the Renaissance. But inside his private notebooks, written backwards to hide them from the world, you find designs for chariots equipped with massive rotating blades, explicitly engineered to mutilate human bodies like wheat. This shift toward violence was a response to personal ruin. In 1482, a public scandal in Florence left a 30-year-old Leonardo humiliated and broke. Desperate for a fresh start, he wrote a letter to the powerful Duke of Milan. In that letter, he barely mentions his art. Instead, he completely rebrands himself, promising the Duke that he can construct automated bridges, mortars, and inescapable armored vehicles. This pivot kicks off a decades-long pursuit of the mechanical rules of the universe, though his greatest struggle will be the restless, erratic nature of his own focus. To win the Duke's favor, Leonardo sketched artillery that wouldn't be built for 300 years. He mapped out a fully enclosed iron tank and a 33-barrel rapid-fire weapon designed to break enemy morale before a single shot was fired. But his fascination with force and motion soon drifted from the battlefield. He wanted to conquer the sky, pouring his manic energy into designing complex, mechanical bat wings for human flight. His early attempts failed because he focused on mimicking the flapping motion of bird wings, attempting to generate lift through brute, manual force. Look at this animated diagram of a wing's cross-section. He eventually realized that a wing's curved shape creates a pressure difference that he calculated centuries before modern fluid dynamics. His days of sketching simple inventions were over. He was systematically extracting the mathematical laws governing nature. That same engineering mindset soon turned inward. He teamed up with an anatomy professor, gaining legal access to human corpses, and began dissecting bodies by candlelight in the freezing basement of a Florence hospital. For centuries, doctors relied on biological myths sanctioned by the church, based on observing pigs and apes. Leonardo peeled those layers back himself to observe the raw truth. Leonardo identified the human spine as a piece of bioengineering. It compresses and springs back forcefully, acting as a mechanical shock absorber that grants the body both vertical stability and fluid motion. But one mechanism frustrated him more than any other: the precise plumbing of the human heart. To figure it out, he took a bull's heart, poured molten wax directly into it, let it harden, and then stripped away the muscle. He was left with a perfect three-dimensional cast of the internal chambers. This diagram models the prevailing assumption. If blood flowed straight through these chambers, it wouldn't catch the internal valves to push them shut. Instead, the curved geometry forces blood into a spiraling vortex, sweeping perfectly behind the valve doors to lock them tight. He translated these fluid dynamics onto paper, rendering the heart's muscle fibers and branching blood vessels with absolute precision. By treating biology as a mechanical puzzle, Leonardo dragged medical science forward by centuries. But this relentless hyperfixation was slowly destroying his actual career. Today, experts suspect Leonardo lived with profound ADHD. His mind was so easily hijacked by new curiosities that he became entirely incapable of finishing the wealthy artistic commissions that paid his bills. The breaking point came in Rome. Hired by the Pope to deliver a painting, Leonardo got distracted by the chemistry of the paint itself. When he presented a new, experimental chemical varnish instead of a finished canvas, the Pope publicly mocked him for starting things he could never finish. The fallout was swift. Church officials, already suspicious of his gruesome methods, permanently banned his access to hospitals and corpses. Overnight, his research was killed. The uncontrollable curiosity that fueled his success had now entirely alienated the high society he relied on to survive. By 1519, Leonardo was living in exile in the French countryside. He was 67 years old, and a severe stroke had completely paralyzed his right hand. Knowing time was running out, he sat alone, sketching final observations with his left hand, fighting a failing body. In the final pages of his notebooks, the man who spent a lifetime analyzing the invisible laws of nature left a heartbreaking confession. He wrote, "I have offended God and mankind in not having worked as I should." Leonardo died convinced his life was a failure, despite having already drafted the blueprints for armored warfare, aerodynamics, and modern cardiology. The Mona Lisa is the psychological mask of a man who effectively simulated the mechanics of the 20th century while stuck in the 15th.